used in the dentist's office and in the kitchen. Nitrous oxide is used to make whipped cream. We found it's been rebranded, attracting new, younger users. And in body camera, you're about to see, that even catches law enforcement by surprise.
Cities have 90 days to serve you. If it doesn't happen, the ticket is dismissed. Data we obtained from Paradise Valley showed that happens about 60% of the time.
We took a closer look at 10 cases from 2021 that involved cyclists that were killed. Important to note, Mitchell was not the county attorney at the time. 4 of them were hit and runs, yet the vast majority, 9 of them, resulted in only misdemeanors or traffic citations. Only 1 case resulted in felony charges. But most Bitcoin ATM operators don't have those precautions in place. In Arizona, they're not required to. Instead, users are typically guided through a series of prompts like this, which advocates say are easy to swipe through.
2 years in, we found Phoenix has missed several of the goals it set for itself. But you don't have to look far to find a city further along in the Vision Zero program. We're talking about Tempe. They adopted it back in 2020.
There are 3 911 calls that the father's girlfriend, Anicia Wood, made. In them, she calls herself the child's mother. She says that that child is not breathing, but she doesn't have the kind of urgency you might expect.
She was running away, but she ran away today, and when the neighbor found her, she's just been completely unresponsive. I'm sitting here giving her breath.
The call is from July 27th. The severely injured child would later be identified as Rebecca Baptiste. The call drops. 17 minutes later, Woods calls back.
Is she breathing?
I'm waiting for her.
What do you mean?
I am putting my mouth around hers and breathing in her lungs. Yes.
The dispatcher urges them to pull over so EMS can get to them. That call ends, and Woods calls back a 3rd time. This time, the dispatcher asks her to start CPR.
Have you got her to the flat ground, solid ground?
Yeah, she's in the car.
Okay, I need you to put her on the ground.
On the rock?
I need her on a flat ground so that you can administer CPR.
30 seconds go by.
Do you know how to administer CPR?
Yes, I do, unfortunately. I hear the EMS coming.
Another 20 seconds go by.
Are you wanting to start CPR or are you waiting for EMS?
I'm waiting for them because I'm trying to get her breath. I'm not doing this on the block.
Rebecca died in the hospital 3 days later. Woods and the child's father, Richard Baptiste, have been charged with murder and child abuse in connection with Rebecca's 2 younger brothers. The family had lived in Phoenix up until this summer when they moved to this yurt in Apache County, seen here in photos from the assessor's office. Prosecutors say it was there where the children suffered physical and sexual abuse. The school those 3 kids attended in Power College Prep long had concerns, saying they called the Department of Child Safety 13 times in the last 2 years. Late this afternoon, DCS pushed back on that, saying they only received 5 calls and only 1 met their abuse or neglect criteria. School administrators very clear in saying they believe Rebecca's murder was preventable. DCS says they are committed to working with police and will review exactly what happened in this case. We'll continue to push for answers. In the newsroom, Amy Cutler, Arizona's Family Investigates. This was not the plea deal that the families of the victims and survivors of this crash wanted, but it is one step closer to some kind of justice. The driver who caused this crash pleaded guilty to these misdemeanor charges and now faces between 6 months and a year behind bars.
How do you plead, sir? Guilty or not guilty? Guilty.
It's the word so many have been waiting to hear from the driver, Pedro Quintana Lujan.
There's a certain part of finality that this is coming to its conclusion.
We've followed Clay Wells' recovery from this horrific crash. He was critically injured when the pickup truck Quintana Lujan was driving plowed into a group of cyclists in Goodyear back in February 2023. 2 people, Karen Melissa and David Kiro, were killed. 17 others, including Wells, were injured.
I was struck from behind. I barely survived. I was in a coma for 10 days in the hospital. I lost 5 weeks of memory.
Wells had to teach himself to walk again, but less than a year later, he was back on a bike.
I'm progressing, not as fast as I want, but I am progressing.
Holding the driver accountable has been more challenging. As we reported in February of last year, a report by the National Transportation Safety Board found what Quintana Lujan told police didn't add up. The driver initially told police the wheel locked up on him, but the vehicle was inspected by a local dealership and DPS investigators. All of them concluded there were no problems with the truck's steering or braking.
The biggest disappointment goes back to the county attorney, Rachel Mitchell, not pursuing this.
The county attorney declined our repeated requests for an interview on this, but in a statement 9 months after the crash said, "We found the evidence in this case is not sufficient to obtain a felony conviction." Months later, the city of Goodyear announced 12 misdemeanor charges for causing serious injury or death by a moving vehicle.
Did you sign it?
I did. This is the best possible outcome that we could get.
Now, in addition to that time behind bars, the suspect will also have to pay a $2,500 fine and do 60 hours of community service. His sentencing is scheduled for September. In Goodyear, Amy Cutler, Arizona's Family Investigates. The trauma of being sexually assaulted still haunts Kate 7 years later.
I don't know why this is like hitting me today.
Kate's case, along with hundreds more, paused, waiting for her rape kit to be processed. Sexual assault is an especially personal, violent crime. And unlike other crime victims, coming forward often means undergoing an invasive, emotionally charged exam.
When you go to get a rape kit done, you're going to a hospital oftentimes, and then you have to wait for an on-call forensic nurse to come.
Kate says it took 8 hours waiting for the nurse, then the actual testing, her clothes taken from her body treated as evidence.
You are telling the forensic nurse exactly what happened to you in very great detail, and that was something that I personally was not prepared to do and ready to do at that time.
And what came next, she says, was even harder.
It took over, I think, 1.5 years for it to be tested the first time, and then there were subsequent rounds of testing that took extra months, and I think the full process was around 2 years.
Kate's assault happened in Tucson, but Arizona's Family found survivors in Phoenix face similar obstacles. In July 2023, Phoenix PD admitted they had 835 rape kits that hadn't been tested.
Arizona's Family has learned there's a major backlog of sex crime evidence.
The next month, city leaders approved $3.4 million to address the backlog, paying outside labs to process more kits.
There's new hope tonight for sex assault victims here in the Valley.
We followed up with Phoenix PD. As of October 31st, they say the backlog is down to 515 kits. That includes testing 675 new kits that have come in.
All of this creates this perception for certain survivors that I've spoken to that their situation doesn't matter to Phoenix PD. What would you say to those survivors?
I get that perception when a backlog, 15 months ago was at 835. We understand that. We understand that was an issue we needed to solve.
Sergeant Rob Shear says staffing remains a problem. 8 of the 28 positions in the forensic DNA section of their lab remain vacant. They tell us finding the right people will take time.
That hiring process is upwards of 6 months. The training process is 24 to 30 months. I mean, you're talking potentially 3 years from really that recruitment element to realizing the benefit within our lab of that person.
What do you make of the numbers?
I'm excited that some of the kits have been tested. Any progress is good progress. However, it's just not enough.
As the head of the Arizona Coalition to End Sexual and Domestic Violence, Jenna Panis advocates for survivors like Kate. She argues Phoenix PD could be doing more. Right now, they're the only law enforcement agency in the state not using Track Kit. The program uses a barcode to track exactly where a rape kit is. Survivors can get that information real time.
During those 2 years, did you know where your rape kit was in the process? Like, did the detectives keep you updated, or was there a system to track where it was?
Not at all, no. And that was one of the parts that was the most frustrating about it.
According to DPS's latest annual report, 229 survivors logged on to the Track Kit system 1,200 times to view the progress of their kit. The state even pays for it, meaning it would be free to Phoenix.
Why isn't Phoenix PD using that program?
So we have our own process, and I get the notion of wanting to see where your kid is at all times. We have a process through contacting our detectives, and you know, we're up to that communication element legally.
Phoenix Police Department has launched.
Instead, Phoenix Police are creating their own tracking program, which will provide updates, they say, for all crime victims, including information on rape kits. But Panis has concerns, sharing emails with Arizona's family revealing police said its program would be online this fall. Then it was pushed back to January. But when we asked about it,
I don't have a time frame on that.
Status of their case.
Kate's ordeal ultimately led her to get a PhD in public health. Her dissertation focused on the experiences of sexual assault survivors.
Were you ever able to get justice in your case?
In ways, not through the criminal system. That did not work well for me.
Kate started a nonprofit called Survivors Rise. The idea is to help survivors in the years after an assault. Her research helped identify that need, and now she's working to meet it.
Wow. So is there any timeline as to when Phoenix PD will be able to get through all of these rape kits? Because it seems there are hundreds now, so they'll never be able to catch up. Because sadly, the rapes won't stop.
Exactly, and they point out that the number of sexual assaults that have people reporting has gone up in the last year. But they say those outside labs, outsourcing those kits has really made a difference. They outsourced 100 kits just this month, so they are getting closer. They tell us the backlog should be addressed in the next few months, but it's one thing for them to get tested. It is another for the results to come back and for police to act on them. That, survivors tell us, remains a very big challenge.